It's 2:18 a.m. I have nothing to do. I'm eating some noodles. I'm tired. So my history with sugar is kind of interesting. I don't really have that big of a sweet tooth. My brother is like the one of the two of us who tends to eat more sweets. So I don't really go out of my way to eat sweets a lot of the time. Sometimes I'm gifted it. Sometimes I do actually like purchase some on a whim. But for the most part I stick to like salty snack foods. I have had a lot of candy, and there's some of these candies that I absolutely love, some I absolutely hate. I guess I'll just like go down the list and see which ones I do have an opinion on and which ones I don't. All the candies that I don't have an opinion on, I'll put them in C tier. All the candies I'm not familiar with. Orange slices, cookie dough, most of these I'm familiar with. I guess these wax soda pop candies, I never had these. I don't think I've had enough Heath bars to formulate an opinion either. So those are all my C tier right off the bat. I'm sure I might have more in C tier as I go through these, but these are in C tier strictly because I haven't tried them. I can't formulate an opinion. I think that covers everything that I'm not familiar with. So I guess we'll just go down the list here. First we have Warheads. I'm actually going to put these around B. I enjoy Warheads. They're definitely not a candy that you want to try regularly. They're specifically there to give you like an adrenaline boost, I would say. Extreme sour, definitely. They make it their mantra, and it's true. It's very sour. So if you get Warheads, you know what you're getting into. As a candy in and of themselves, not recommended. The problem with the sour is that like it's extreme, yeah. It also doesn't last the entire way through. When you're through like the first layer of sour, when you're sucking on a Warhead, it's just like the rest is just flavorless sugar, essentially. That's my least favorite part of Warheads. But there isn't a candy that can match the sourness of Warheads. So yeah, that's what it goes out for. It gets a positive grade because it sticks to its game plan, essentially. Reese's Pieces. This is also getting a B for me. I like Reese's Pieces. I actually like them more than M&M's. I guess I'll get into my M&M's right after this, just to set it straight. But Reese's Pieces I like. I'm a fan of peanut butter candy, and I've never been sad when I've been handed like a bag of Reese's Pieces. They're definitely not like exciting from a palate standpoint, but if you're someone like me who doesn't go for like the really sugary, high fructose corn syrup candies, Reese's Pieces are pretty good. So banking off of that, M&M's, this is probably going to be controversial, but I'm giving them a D. Now, there isn't anything bad with chocolate, but M&M's doesn't do anything meaningful, in my opinion, to sort of elevate chocolate into like a new like echelon, I would say. Chocolate packaged in like these crunchy but basically flavorless candy shells. Honestly, like if I wanted chocolate, I'm not going to get M&M's. I'm going to get like a Hershey's bar or a Snickers bar or whatever. M&M's I think are actually really sucky. Having the chocolate minimize that much makes it hard for me to enjoy it. Like if I'm eating like a big hunk of chocolate, it's easier for me to enjoy the flavor of the chocolate. But when it's been like shrunk into these little beads, I really just can't get behind like enjoying it from a flavor standpoint unless I'm eating a bunch at once. And even then, it's a weird experience for me. Having all that shell mixed in, that candy shell is serving no purpose except because it's part of M&M's brand or whatever. Hubba Bubba Bubble Tape gets, I'm sorry, it's an F. It's too much of a good thing. It's sugary. It loses its flavor very fast. This is like the worst bubble gum I can think of, like that I've ever had, I think. The bubble tape is so flavorless, you go through it so quickly, so it defeats the purpose of you having a lot of it. I think if you're going to have a really good gum, you need that gum to last long. It's good for blowing bubbles, I would guess, yes, but like the flavor itself is an afterthought. Like I would enjoy blowing bubble gum if they paid more attention to the flavor and less attention to the actual bubble blowing aspect. The texture is different to make the bubbles easier to blow, and that sort of actually detracts from the act of chewing it. You're spreading yourself thin. 100 grand. It's okay. It's not something that I go out of my way to buy, but it's a good bar. It's definitely got all the ingredients of a good quality chocolate bar. But there are so many other chocolate bars that I get more enjoyment out of. It sort of failed to reach that level. And by association, it's sort of like a disappointment. No disrespect to 100 grand. Plenty of people still enjoy them, but I'm not personally one of them. Although it is a C tier because I can see why it's good. It's just not my cup of tea. Bazooka bubblegum. Bazooka is the real shit. I'm giving it an A. Bazooka does bubblegum right. The taste, I think, is one of the good quality, like, bubblegum flavors, in my opinion. I've never been disappointed chewing Bazooka. And just like the comics as part of the bubblegum, iconic. No other bubblegum does that. It's dumb. Like, they're old comics, like ancient stuff you would see in like a 1930s broadsheet or whatever. But the retro aspect to Bazooka bubblegum is part of its charm. And the gum's really good too. So it's got the entertainment aspect, it's got the gum flavor aspect. There's little that I can hate about Bazooka bubblegum other than it's bubblegum. It would probably be higher if it wasn't bubblegum. I like bubblegum. I do like bubblegum, but I just don't like having to spit it out and deal with it after that. Gobstoppers. I have a good history with gobstoppers. Like, I had these all the time as a kid. I love the fact they changed colors. They're probably my favorite jawbreaker. They got different flavors too, which is a plus. I don't know what it is about gobstoppers. Honestly, I think all my gripes with gobstoppers fall to jawbreakers in general. They're good to suck on, but once they dissolve, it's not a fun experience. I would give this a B, because I do love the flavors. This is definitely the most accessible jawbreaker available. I actually would prefer gobstoppers over traditional, like, normal jawbreakers. But, again, it's that feeling where once you finish the jawbreaker and it explodes in your mouth into a chalky mess, I just can't get behind that. Obviously, I'm going to like traditional jawbreakers less. I'd say I get a solid C, just because not all jawbreakers are created equal. There are some that are definitely better than others. For the most part, jawbreakers sort of like fluctuate between B and D for me. We have Sour Patch Kids. We have two Sour Patches in this. We have the kids and we have the watermelon. Sour Patch Kids for me, honestly, some of my favorite flavored sour candy. It gets an S tier for me. Good for that sour moment where you just suck on it until the sour disappears. And then once the sour disappears, you get to chew on it. And that's some fun shit. Like, you don't get Sour Patch Kids, in my opinion, to just guzzle them down. Sour Patch Kids are a candy that I can savor. And that's what I really enjoy. I'm there for that sour aspect. I love sour stuff. And then, like, as soon as that sour's gone, you just start chewing it, and it's like Swedish fish. And it's fantastic. The only bad thing I think about Sour Patch Kids is that, like, if you eat a lot of them, it destroys your taste buds for a while. If you're, like, going through an entire bag. So that little bit of pain is why it isn't, like, perfect. Sour Patch Watermelon, it gets a B. I like watermelon as a flavor, but I'm never going to take Sour Patch Watermelon over Sour Patch Kids. There's more flavors, and I don't feel like I'm eating the same thing over and over again, even if it's all sour. They do some variants in the actual flavors. I feel like I can get bored eating Sour Patch Watermelon. It's a good watermelon flavor, but in terms of a candy that I can enjoy over a period of time, watermelon gets a much worse grade from me. Hot tamales is F. Whoever had the idea to make spicy into a candy, like, throw them into a volcano for all I care. They might as well just end up burning as hot as these tamales, because that's what they deserve. I cannot stand spicy cinnamon candy. I'm super pissed they do this in jelly beans too, because I really love jelly beans, and yet the spicy cinnamon flavor, just that one flavor, just pisses me off to no extent. And it's because of candies like hot tamales. And it's because of candies like Fireball. Like, no, if I want some spicy food, I'm going to have some spicy food. I don't want it in my candy. Are you high? What? No. That is not fun. That is not enjoyable. That is not delicious. Who finds this stuff delicious? Let me know what your address is. I'll beat you the fuck up. Come on. Fight me. I hate this shit. Moving on. Tootsie Roll Pops. First, I'll go into Tootsie Rolls. These things are hot trash. I cannot stomach them. They're disgusting. They're made literally from a vat that's been used since, like, the early 20th century. And, like, they've been making more and more Tootsie Rolls from that batch ever since. And it tastes like it. I hate the taste. I can't eat any of these. It's bad enough having to have these in Tootsie Pops. The only reason why Tootsie Pops are better is because they have the pop that I can enjoy for the brief amount of time before I hit the Tootsie Roll, and then I toss it because I hate it. I hate the Tootsie Roll. Ugh, it's terrible. I could never get behind this flavor. Sweet Tarts. Good. This is some good right here. They're the best candy that comes in a roll. I could just pop them continuously. I had Sweet Tarts when I was watching 1917. I think the quality of the movie went up like 1.5 points, specifically from eating those Sweet Tarts during the film. There are a few bad things I could say about Sweet Tarts. Actually, I think I enjoy Sweet Tarts so much that I'm going to put them at triple S because I just love them. They're great. They're great. So good. Fun Dip. This gets a D tier. It's not my kind of thing. It's really just sugar. It's a lot of sugar. Feels like I'm eating a lot of sugar. I'm literally dipping a sugar stick into some sugar powder and sucking the sugar powder off the sugar stick. I'm just eating sugar, just directly. It's just you eating lightly flavored sugar with a sugar stick. And it's not fun. It's not fun. Fun Dip is not fun. All right, these mint chocolates. They get C tier. They're minty, they're chocolatey. I'll have them if they've been left in my hotel room. They're okay. I'm not going out of my way to buy them. I've never hated them. But under no circumstances would I purchase these if given the opportunity. Because there are so many better options to spend my money on. Lifesavers. They're a good hard candy. They're fruity. I had these all the time as a kid. Pretty decent. Not memorable enough to want to buy them specifically. Basically everything I'm putting into C tier is stuff that I wouldn't buy. Same with Ring Pops. They're a novelty, but they're also a hard candy. And also I'm not a kid anymore. I see no reason why I would need these at age 22. Three Musketeers is a good chocolate bar. They're soft. They're airy. I don't ever get them in bar form. I always get them in like mini form because I get them in like chocolate packs. Three Musketeers is one of the better ones. I love soft chocolate. They meld their flavors well. Strictly from a bar standpoint, I think Three Musketeers does a good job with their flavor. Twizzlers. I do not like red licorice. Just a me thing. I could never get behind it. Red Vines can go die. At least Twizzlers does a better job than Red Vines. If Red Vines was in this list, I'd put them in F. But Twizzlers just gets a D. It ain't my thing. I'm not big on red licorice. Black licorice, sometimes. But red licorice, never. No disrespect to people who like Twizzlers or Red Vines, but I can never stomach it. Jolly Ranchers. In my opinion, this is the best kind of hard candies. I'm putting it in B. I believe I have at least once gone out of my way to purchase Jolly Ranchers. Their watermelon is my favorite flavor. No two ways about it. They're a solid hard candy. It lasts decently long. It doesn't get chewier near the end. It stays hard the entire way through. And you get just a solid dose of flavor. And they last a while. It does everything a solid hard candy should do. So Jolly Ranchers is up there for me. We have Swedish Fish. This is flavored Swedish Fish. It's also getting a B. I like gummies. Gummies are cool. Swedish Fish does a good job in the gummy department. Not as chewy as some other gummies, I would say. But in terms of being a solid option, Swedish Fish is definitely there. And you can't really go wrong with Swedish Fish. I do prefer the multi-flavored Swedish Fish over like the standard just a bag full of red Swedish Fish. If this was the regular Swedish Fish, I'd probably get a C. Because I don't go out of my way to get regular Swedish Fish. Is Almond Joy here? Yes, we have Almond Joy. Almond Joy and Mounds. I'm going to put Almond Joy in A. Mounds is B. Almond Joy I like. It does coconut good. I know that Almond Joys aren't always like a popular candy. I've heard like people just can't stand like coconut stuff. But I love coconut stuff. And Almond Joy throws in almonds. So you get almonds, coconut, and chocolate. And I think that's a winning combo. It's crunchy. It's got that coconut bed to sort of dull the sweetness of the chocolate, which I enjoy. Mounds just doesn't have almonds. Without the almonds, you've taken away the magic. Mounds is pretty good. I still like Mounds. I still like coconut. Dark chocolate is an interesting twist. But without those almonds, you've just taken away like so much of what made Almond Joy so great. Just from one simple ingredient missing. And unfortunately, that means you're in B tier. Candy bracelets. It's a novelty. It's a novelty, and for me, I don't think that the flavor makes up for it. It's hard to go through a candy bracelet without accidentally biting through the cord. I just don't go through the trouble. I don't think the taste is worth it for me either. Razzles. F this candy to the highest degree. I think if there is any candy in this entire list that belongs in F tier, it is f***ing Razzles. In fact, your name is hell, and that's exactly where Razzles belong. Because holy shit, this candy f***ing sucks. It is so terrible. It is unappetizing. It's chalky. I've regretted every single time I've accidentally purchased this. I think they say it's supposed to turn into gum, but holy shit, it does not. It is terrible. It is so terrible. How are they still selling these? They're disgusting. Why do they still exist? Whenever I've tried to give Razzles a chance, Razzles have just disappointed me. I'm sorry to anybody who's ever had to eat this disgusting candy. Crunch Bar gets a B. It has a stated goal. It accomplishes that stated goal. I'd say it's kind of shallow from a candy perspective. It doesn't have really much flavor to speak of. It's just crunchy. That's its draw. And as a result, it's just a shallow candy. I don't know. I don't think I can enjoy the flavor of the Crunch Bar as much when there's crunch in it. We have candy cigarettes. They're cool. I think my brother's got them at least once, maybe twice. They're cool as a gimmick. Again, it's a sort of a kid thing. You're like, hey, what is this? What do I have in my hand? I'm a kid. I'm not supposed to have these. That's the candy. Kit Kats. They have transcended. Kit Kats have transcended. You've seen all the flavors of Kit Kats in Japan. You've seen how ubiquitous Kit Kats are everywhere. They got so much going for them. They're the best wafer candy out there. Solid flavor, solid crunch. Enjoyable to eat. Actively enjoyable to eat. That feeling of splitting up a Kit Kat is just indescribable. That is a feeling that cannot be replicated by any other candy on this list. Kit Kats are great. Kit Kats are really great. Smarties. Don't like Smarties. I feel like a lot of these candies are pretty chalky, and that's why I can't enjoy them. They don't really have much flavor to speak of. They just sort of make me queasy to eat them. I also have like a unique reason for not liking Smarties. I was on long trips. My parents always gave me Smarties, and I've now sort of associated the taste of Smarties with nausea. That's probably not something that other people experience, but also the candy itself, which is not enjoyable for me, just from a strict flavor standpoint. It doesn't stack up anywhere near these other candies. York Peppermint Patties. It gets a B. They're a unique flavor. They're an enjoyable peppermint candy, but again, it's not something I would go out of my way to buy. I put it in B because I at least can recognize that they're good, and I do agree they are delicious. It's a low B for York. My opinion of Dots has changed over the years. Now, I'm a fan of simple candies. Dots originally sort of fit that criteria for me, but over time my opinion of them has soured. Now I think they're just a C, sadly. They're just too hard to chew. I don't like working hard for my enjoyment of a certain candy. And Dots are good in terms of like flavor and texture, but they're so dense. That density eventually gets to a point where I'm through like a few Dots and then I think this is just suffering. It's not the good kind of suffering like with Warheads or Sour Patch Kids. Here I'm just like busting my ass, just trying to enjoy this candy. It's not for me. Peeps. These guys are a seasonal candy for a reason. I'm sorry, it had to be said. These guys are a seasonal candy for a reason. People aren't going out of their way to buy Peeps unless they're celebrating the idea that Peeps are associated with Easter. Like, if they were a good candy on their own, we'd be seeing Peeps year-round. It sort of speaks for themselves, just like how they don't stand up on their own as a candy when you don't see them outside of Easter. The sugar on the outside sort of like negates the enjoyment for me. Let me put it this way. If I wanted a marshmallow, I'll get a marshmallow. I won't get a Peep. To me, they're an inferior marshmallow. Starburst. Only good things to say about Starburst. They're delicious. They're fantastic. So many different flavors. Hot take, lemon is the second best flavor of Starburst for me. I know how people like diss lemon so much. There are so many lemon haters out there. Best Starburst is strawberry. That's just a universal agreement. Second favorite is lemon. Third favorite is orange. And then last is cherry. But they're all good. I know there's some hot opinions on the flavors of Starburst. Really, they're all good. They're all delicious. I love chewing on a Starburst. I love unwrapping a Starburst. It's just so good for my like OCD to fully unwrap a Starburst and have the entire like wrapper be intact. I don't have to like tear it apart. You can easily fold it out of its little package. And they're all in a stack, and you can just eat them off the top one by one. You could even like go full OCD, empty the wrapper, just sort them by color, and then just like divvy them up and eat them in whatever pattern that suits you. And then just like all the different flavors of Starburst, like just add to the magic. And the mini Starburst, and it's great. Like Starburst does it well. Starburst does it well. It's an SSS tier because there's literally nothing bad I can say about Starburst. That's how much I enjoy them. I should be getting some Starburst after this. Reese's Cups. This is the one ring to rule them all. Or I guess the two rings to rule them all. Reese's Cups are the crown jewel of any chocolate candy I've ever enjoyed. There's no chocolate candy I would rather eat than Reese's. Chocolate and peanut butter, it's a winning combination. Truly a good candy. So simple, and yet it delivers so well. And who hates a Reese's? Who receives a Reese's and thinks, oh, this sucks? Even the people who aren't in America, who hate the taste of American chocolate, still like Reese's. And I think it's probably my favorite candy in this list. Fruit Gushers. Fruit Gushers are a classic. I wish I could find them more easily. I don't think I see Fruit Gushers enough on the shelf to want to get them. But I like Fruit Gushers. Definitely like one of the more ghetto candies in this list, but I think that just adds to their charm. They are messy, that's part of their aesthetic, but I just enjoy them. I just haven't had these enough, honestly. I really wish I had more of them. Lemon Heads. They're B tier. Lemon Heads have a solid flavor. They're a solid candy. They do the lemon well. No variety. This coming from someone who likes lemon Starburst, I do think too much of lemon is a bad thing. It's not enjoyable once you get so much lemon. I have had lemon heads. I have enjoyed lemon heads. There are better options. Airheads. These are a little bit too sugary for my taste. The flavor's good. They're nice and chewy. The texture's perfect. The texture's great. But they're just so sugary. Actually, why did I put these in B? I think I'm just going to put these in C. It's not excellent having that much sugar in a candy. Dum Dums. These are the best lollipops, period. I'm so glad that I can have like a ball-shaped candy to suck on that doesn't have a Tootsie Roll in the center. That has been the single best part of the Dum Dum for me. I don't have to worry about digging up some Tootsie Roll in the center of a lollipop. And there are so many flavors. There are so many Dum Dum flavors. It's fantastic. Kisses gets a C. Don't go on my way to get them. I'd rather just get a Hershey's bar. My personal taste. Oh, if I wanted chocolate, I'm not going to get a Kiss. I'll just get a chocolate bar. I guess they've been like sitting here for a while and I keep mentioning them. So I'll just go out and put it in B. It's your average chocolate bar. You know you're going to get decent quality chocolate if you get Hershey's. No fanfare. No bells and whistles. It's a good chocolate bar. Snickers is up there with Hershey's. It does have like nougat in it. Compared to like Three Musketeers or Milky Way or Babe Ruth, I personally think that Snickers actually doesn't stand up to the competition. Snickers has been resting on its laurels. I'd rather go for a Three Musketeers or a Milky Way than a Snickers. Twix. I've eaten a lot of Twix. It goes in A. It's a caramel cookie bar. You get two of them. Very little not to love. I love me some Twix. Nerds. Also A tier. They're good. I especially love the multi-flavored Nerds. Lemonade cherry is really good. My favorite Nerds flavor. But Nerds are great. They're full of flavor. Only problem is that they get everywhere. But the fact that it like has more direct engagement with the shape of the candy itself, that actually like adds to the experience. And I just love the feeling of like opening up a tiny box of Nerds and doing it like a shot. It's so good. But yeah, they do get everywhere. The containment aspect is definitely troublesome. Also, it is very sugary. Do not like Milk Duds. Whoppers go there too. Actually, Whoppers go to hell. Nah, not that bad. Milk Duds and Whoppers, no. Malt balls, no. Malt balls are not fun. Say no to malt balls. They don't need to be encouraged. We deserve better. That's all I have to say about that. Milky Way, best chocolate bar in my opinion. So soft, just so fluffy, so airy. I lose my whenever I see this. So good. I should probably actually get Milky Ways more often in full bar form. And I really think that Milky Way deserves more credit. They're everything that I want out of a delicious chocolate bar. But because I don't get them as much as I should, even though I do enjoy them, they don't get triple S. But it's still good. Blow Pops. It's a good lollipop. I feel like once you get to the bubble gum inside, it's devoid of flavor. Once you get there, you don't get anything that you normally enjoy out of bubble gum. Blow Pops is B instead of C because I still like the lollipop. The lollipop's still good. And I'm not against the bubble gum in the center, but I just don't think it's as good of a payoff as you might expect. Lifesaver Gummies. I did say I'm a fan of gummies. These actually get higher than regular Lifesavers for me. They're chewy, they're fruity, they leave me satisfied. Solid gummy candy. My opinion of Pez has soured greatly. It's a meh candy. The only thing good about the Pez is, it comes in like a little fancy head that you crank back. The reliance is on the novelty, not on the candy itself. And that's where Pez falls flat. Moving on to Pop Rocks. Pop Rocks. These hurt my tongue. They're okay. I don't see these enough in the shopping aisle. But also, they're sort of for kids. But they're fun every once in a while. They do hurt my tongue though. Candy buttons. Tried these once, didn't like them as much. They don't really have much flavor. And they're a little bit of a hassle. That's pretty much it. Mike and Ike's. They got all the main flavors. Very solid, cinema candy. They're one of those candies where if you eat a bunch of them, it definitely wears on you. That's why I put them in line with Sour Patch. But they're still pretty good. I do love those flavors. Yeah, nothing really bad to say about them other than don't eat a lot of them. Jelly beans. These are a staple of my hometown. And they get S tier. No, they get A tier. I'm sorry, they get A tier. There's some really good jelly bean flavors. The variety is intense. It is so good. And they're part of what makes jelly beans so iconic. But they're also part of its downfall. There are just some flavors that should not be in there. Some flavors I absolutely cannot enjoy. Some flavors that I just dread having to eat just to get rid of them. But jelly beans are a fun treat to have if you're on a date and you're trying to guess the flavor. Or if you're if you have one of those jelly bean guides and it says you put this, this, and this to get this flavor, and you put this and this and this to get this flavor. So good. Very versatile candy. Bean Boozled, I think, and some of the worst beans in the Birdie Bots beans set of jelly beans, those can go to hell. Why would you put yourself through that? Skittles. They got both Skittles in here. They got the original Skittles and they got the version of Skittles with lime swapped out for the green apple. Very controversial change in the Skittles fandom. I really don't have much of an opinion on the change between lime and green apple because I think both of them are good in their own ways. Do not have any issues with the change. So I'm probably going to put these both on the same level. And that would have to be A. They're good, like the flavors, but they're not fun to eat a lot of. I bought Skittles numerous times. I've enjoyed Skittles numerous times. I'd say they're my favorite button candy. They definitely leave an impact on your tongue after a while, in terms of taste buds. Not fun over a period of time. Laffy Taffy gets a C. I don't buy it. They're okay. I can sort of enjoy them. They're not memorable enough for me to want to get them on my own. The jokes on the wrapper are quaint. They were never really a selling point for me. Laffy Taffy never had a very high standing in my opinion. Although banana Laffy Taffy is a very solid flavor, I will say. So they have that going for them. Gummy bears. If you're talking Haribo, D. If you're talking like regular gummy bears, I'd put them at a B. So I guess that equalizes out to C. Baby Ruth, I'd put it in the same echelon of Three Musketeers. Very solid flavor, better than Snickers. Nutty, they're very similar in my mind to like Three Musketeers, but they do have that peanut flavor. Milky Way does stand above both of them. Candy corn, candy corn. I don't like candy corn. Can't enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. Hate it. It's not fun. It's not great. It's another seasonal candy for a reason. It sucks. Can't stand candy corn. Candy pumpkins, again, like candy corn. Same flavor. Nothing to the table. I don't even know what the flavor from candy corn comes from. I just can't. It's so bad. I don't like these. Gumdrops. It gets a solid D. Solid D for me. You don't buy these on their own. You get these as part of like a gingerbread house. Or if you're making like a gingerbread man or something. What are you doing? Are you 12? Just never stood out to me. I would not eat them on their own. Pixie Sticks. It is literally just sugar. I ate these a lot as a kid. I made a lot of mistakes as a kid. You're just begging for a sugar rush to happen with these. And when you moisten the paper up with your mouth as you're eating the Pixie Sticks, the pixie dust starts bleeding into the paper. Then you can't enjoy it all, and it's a mess. Also, these are just a way for you to guarantee that your toddlers will start shitting all over your house, and you will lose all control as babysitter. You're really just begging for trouble with Pixie Sticks. Both enjoying them and giving them to children. And yeah, so this is my tier list. It's 3:30. Why did I do this? I'm possessed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to bed. Good night.